Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Anecdotal Leaks to Zoo School Logs. If you're familiar with this format of the series, you know every other episode I will read from Skedula, aka IO Classroom, some anecdotal logs. This is episode 4, so we will be reading from Skedula and IO Classroom, actual events that happen in the school word to word. Episode 5 will be about regions within the school that were ripped up, scorecards that were ripped up, evidence pointing to that, videos pointing to that, and other information pointing to that. But that's the next episode. Let's focus on this episode. So, excuse me. I want to explore the anecdotal logs from IO Classroom and Skedula for Urban Assembly Wildlife School for Conservation. As we're exploring them, you're going to notice an emotional profile is going to start to emerge. This profile is going to show that without the following attributes in a school, leadership, accountability, and respect, violence might occur. We're going to look at these casual encounters between students to students, students to teachers, teachers to administration, and administration to the students. And we're going to see that the occurrence of these events and keywords within these anecdotal logs, that you're going to see some stresses start to appear and they're going to reappear. You're going to see some language that's going to reappear, some concepts that are going to reappear. That you're going to see the frustration of the teachers speaking directly to the admins through these logs, asking for help and not receiving it. So, let's start into the logs. Log 1 for today. I'm not going to say the anecdotal log numbers anymore because then they could trace it. I want to give them a harder time to find anecdotal logs. Just click Control F, maybe that will help. While walking down the hallway, a student X, I won't name any students, jumped up and grabbed the pipe attached to the ceiling by Mr. Picardo's office, who's the AP. As he was swinging from pipe to pipe like a gymnast, he nearly kicked me in the face. ... I would like the student suspended ... Here's one of those keywords and one of those contexts that we have to look at the log. Why highlight that you would like the student suspended? If there is true accountability in the school from the teachers, the students, more importantly, the students themselves, and the administration, if all of that existed, an individual, a teacher, would not need to highlight that. A teacher would not have to ask, I would like the student suspended. This is a teacher displaying frustration within this community. Because the teacher knows no matter the report that's written, the student will not be suspended. The student will not be held accountable by the administrators. Okay. Let's go to another report. Student Y was a distraction in today's class. She was on the phone and being disrespectful to school property. She also had her headphones on. When I asked her to put them in her bag and please don't have them during class, she snapped at me, stating that she was not listening to anything. I informed her that she cannot have them out regardless whether or not she had them on or not. She then proceeded to argue with her boyfriend and put her feet on the desk and surrounding chairs. Excuse me. I asked her to come and sit at the table with the rest of the class. She refused to. I then asked her to hang up the phone. She got into an argument with me, and then she left the room. She stormed out, and she came back with a pass from the main office. I told her if she wanted to be in this classroom, she needed to hang up the phone. She claimed she did not have to listen to me, but Chardo, the AP, was okay with her being on the phone. Accountability, leadership, rules, having that leadership figure in the school. You all need to be a part of the culture and the community. You cannot have one figure undermining another figure, especially in the classroom. When a principal or admin does this to a teacher, right? The teacher self-respect and leadership in that classroom starts to degrade. The way the students look towards that teacher starts to degrade, because if the administrator is not going to respect the teacher, then the students are not going to respect the teacher. So they're going to follow that example. So now this administrator, Mr. Pichardo, robbed this situation. He robbed not only the respect and the leadership that the teacher has in his classroom, but also the teacher's freedom of control in this classroom. Although it was very little, but he could have built that, or she could have built that through credibility with the students, by fostering a community in that classroom, respect in that classroom could have been easily changed. But because when she went to the admin and the admin said otherwise, you're okay, you could do this, by that axiom itself, it degraded everything that teacher stood for in that class. So that teacher, while in that classroom, will never have authority. This teacher starts to develop harsh feelings. And he or she can't lash out to the administrator. You know what starts to happen? The teacher starts to lash out at the students. I've seen this happen more than once while in the New York City DOE. And it's a sad situation. You should never lash out on your students in any way. Giving them hard work, punishing them. No. Whatever issues you have with the administrator, you leave it like that. I'm not saying that this happened in this specific situation, but I've seen it happen repeatedly. Next, anecdotal log. Today, during my first period, student X entered the stage during my second period class. Student X continued to play with the curtains and run around through my class as I was teaching my lesson. Student X was told numerous times to exit the auditorium but refused to leave. The assistant dean, question mark, because we don't have an assistant dean. We have aides, we have ATRs, we never had an assistant dean. She came to remove the student. Student X continued to run around the auditorium refusing to leave, because the student knows that the assistant dean, nor the administrator, nor the teachers have any authority, because all of that was eroded away. There are no rules in this school. During my dismissal, student X yelled out, "You suck my, bad word, insert bad word." I instantly corrected him and continued to dismiss my class. This is the next period now. During period 3, student X continued to run in and out of the auditorium and in the copy room of the elementary school. So Wildlife is a high school, right, with a middle school, and then there's another school in that building that is an elementary school. So they're using the auditorium. Now this kid is not only distracting for 2 periods, 45 minutes plus 45 minutes is 90 minutes, not only for 90 minutes distracting this gentleman's class, Mr. TJ's class, he's also distracting the elementary school. While he's teaching my class, student X pushed me off the stage. While I walked away, the student smacked me in the head. So now you have a student that's been harassing the class environment for 2 periods. The assistant dean couldn't do anything. The teacher couldn't do anything. And now he's hitting the teacher after courting and waiting for the dean. So here again, we have another teacher highlighting the fact that they called and they waited for the dean. There was never no follow-up. The dean never showed up. We have time for one more. So now another part of authority and accountability is being responsible and having the responsibility and showing the individuals in your community that you respect that responsibility. Here's an example where that responsibility is just tossed out the window. Student X arrived late to class. I had another student in what she claims has her seat. She grabbed that student's bag and threatened to smack him. The student stood his ground, and I asked him to move to another seat, please. This happened. The girl didn't want to sit in the seat now, so she stormed out of the classroom. I messaged the admins. The admins sent this gentleman's name, I'm not going to say his name, sent this gentleman. This gentleman's name that's in this anecdotal log is a teacher's aide. He's not an ATR. He's not a teacher. He's not a dean. He's not an assistant principal. He's not a principal. He is a teacher's aide. It is not his obligation to be disciplining students. He's there to do clerical work. She's there to do clerical work. He or she there to keep order in the class, in the hallway, to assist teachers in lessons plan. You can see the whole job description on the New York City DOE site. So when you refuse to show up to a classroom to assist a teacher and you send a teacher's aide in your replacement, the students know, and they see that they're smart. And they see that, and when they see that, they don't respect the environment. They don't respect the school. They won't respect the teachers. They won't respect the administrators. And then when you add the high turnover rate of not building a community with the teachers you have, not building trust between the students and the teachers, all of that builds, all of those attributes contribute to a school that is going to fail. A school that's going to have issues, a school that might lead to violence. Because when you don't have any of these pillars, when you don't have any of these attributes, that's the end result. That's the same thing in a community. That's the same thing in society. A school is just a small lens of society. A school is a small lens of a community. When you have a community that has no rules, no laws, no accountability, no respect for its citizens, no respect for its rulers, it's going to be a chaotic and disorderly community. Everyone's going to be at their throats. Everyone's going to be stealing. Everyone's going to be trying to get away with murder. All of these anecdotal logs that I'm reading, every single one, I'm not editing them. They all highlight that. They all speak to that. That's the That's the story. I'm sorry. I'm still a little sick from a long weekend. That's what it speaks to. Tune in about 2 days or a day if I have free time tomorrow, so I could show you how the assistant principal ripped up region scorecards in front of me and 2 other teachers and 13 students. Where you can find the evidence for that, which I have, I'm going to show you. Then 2 days after that, we'll go into another few anecdotal log readings. If there's anything that anyone wants me to focus on, fights, violence towards teachers, violence, people on the phone, because that's another issue, phones. I mean, you let me know. I could just read towards that, or I'll just pick the anecdotal logs myself. Okay. Have a beautiful night. Tune in. Hopefully we can use what the video logs that I'm doing. Again, not to give the school a bad name, but to be used as an educational purpose, so we can avoid these issues again. So we can look at the New York City DOE and how they hide data, how they don't suspend, and how they disrespect their staff members. When you put administrators in power in positions that only have a year of teaching under their belt or a year of an online school, inexperienced staff members, this is what happens. Let's avoid these situations. Have a beautiful night.